Bright Cutie. Every student matters.
Next was the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. So Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was in operation since 2001, and it aimed at providing a lot of resources to the students so that everybody could be educated, so that education could be retained by them for a longer duration, and so that whatever discrimination existed between the gender, between the other social categories, should be reduced to the maximum and the quality of education be made better. Now, the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan aimed at opening of new schools. Then, apart from the schools, what other alternative methods could be introduced to implement schooling to the students? New schools were to be constructed, additional classrooms to be made, toilets, drinking water to be made, uh, you know, to be made available for everybody, good facilities and provisions to be made for the teachers, then teaching with regular training of the teachers was very important, providing appropriate resources, textbooks, uniforms, and all these things could have only and only ensured a better education system and a better outcome. Now, there was the Right to Education Act that brought about a lot of change in the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. What were the changes? The changes could basically be seen in the elementary level. There were a few principles that were followed. The Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan aimed at the holistic view of education. So, not only the scholastic aspect was laid emphasis on, but the holistic view of education was focused, as it was also focused by the NCF, the National Curriculum Framework 2005. It wanted that the process of education should be made significant, and that could only be made possible when better curriculum, when better teacher education, educational planning, and management was involved and included. They also wanted equal opportunities to be given to everybody. Every strata, every section of the society should be given equal opportunities. The children of the SC, ST, the Muslim minorities, the agricultural workers, the children with special needs, everybody was made available with equal opportunity to grow. They also wanted that the education and school should become accessible to everybody. No distance, no other requirement could act as an hindrance in the school education for them, be it some minority, be it some scheduled caste or scheduled tribes or the other disadvantaged groups. They wanted the schooling, they wanted the education to be accessed by all, to be accessible by everyone. Gender to be sidelined. They did not want any discrimination to be made on the basis of gender. They wanted that the education should be such that it has just as many opportunities for the girls as it has for boys. And this was also very specifically and lucidly written in the National Policy of Education 1986-92. They did not want any discrimination to take place in the education on the basis of gender. Next, they wanted the teacher to be the central hero of the class. They wanted the teacher to come up with innovative and creative ideas, to motivate the students within the classroom and beyond the classroom so that the students can learn not only what is there in the books, but what was beyond that. Specifically for the females, for the girls, the role that was played by the teachers was actually outstanding and significant for their development. Then was moral compulsion. Now, because of the Right to Education Act, there was a moral compulsion which was imposed on the teachers, parents, the educational administrators, and the others to shift their, to look out for better and better measures to ensure better education and higher growth and learning among the students. They wanted the education system to be integrated, to take into account the various factors that were important to implement each and every law that was laid down by the government. So, the basic aim, the basic mission was to achieve universal elementary education. The country wanted that by 2010, all the students up to the age of 14 years should be educated. This is what they aimed at. What were the objectives of this policy? They wanted the children to complete 5 years of primary schooling by 2005. They wanted the children to complete 8 years of schooling by 2010. And they wanted the children to benefit through schools, through the education guarantee centers, through the alternate schools, back to school camps, etc. in 2003. Their focus was on the quality of elementary education as well as the education for life, not only just book, but the education for life. They wanted to cover, they wanted to bridge all the gaps that existed between gender and the different society, the disadvantaged groups, and to reach a complete and a universal elementary education by 2010. So the center and the state government together was to implement the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan along with the local government and the community. The Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan was implemented by a committee with the Prime Minister as well as the chairperson, wherein the states were requested to make sure that with the Chief Minister as the chairman, all the societies were reformed and this Abhiyan was implemented in each one of them. Now, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan had two special aspects. One, it wanted to provide a framework for the implementation of elementary education. And second, it also wanted to consider the budget provision. The funding was a very big problem. So the financial funding was 85 is to 15 during the 9th plan, 75 is to 25 during the 10th plan, and 50-50 thereon. So what is this ratio? The funding which was provided by the central government and the state government. So now it is 50-50 by both the central and the state government. So the features of these Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan were that there should be a sustainable funding, a continuous funding which was provided to all these organizations. Then the community should own and should start some programs for the betterment. Then capacity building programs, educational institutions to be administered. The community should work based on complete transparency. There should be complete transparency with respect to their functioning. Habitation, to enable that the students were accustomed and were accountable to the habitat they were working with, that also to be constituted in the program. Education was of girls, emphasis on the disadvantaged groups like SC, ST, the minorities, project based learning, emphasis on the qualitative learning, the role of teachers, the elementary education plans. All these were the objectives of the Sarva Shiksha.